Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đến với chương trình Tôi và Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC. Và nhân vật của chương trình ngày hôm nay đó là anh Alan Jiang, phụ trách phát triển thị trường quốc tế của Uber, một ứng dụng di động giúp kết nối giữa người tiêu dùng và dịch vụ thuê xe đưa đón có tài xế riêng. Khá thú vị, vừa mới xuất hiện tại Việt Nam trong thời gian gần đây. Và nhân dịp ra mắt chính thức tại Việt Nam vào tháng 7 năm 2014, anh Alan Jiang, phụ trách thị trường quốc tế của Uber, đã có cuộc chia sẻ với FBNC xung quanh những kế hoạch của Uber tại thị trường Việt Nam. Mời quý vị theo dõi. Xin chào quý vị, hiện nay thì tôi đang có mặt trong một chiếc xe của Uber, một chiếc Mercedes E250 với anh Alan Jiang là phụ trách thị trường quốc tế của Uber. Well, thanks, man. This is very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice car.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for
So
having me.
I'm just curious. So how many cars do you have right now for Vietnam market?
So we have a lot. I can't say exactly how many, but we're adding cars every week to keep up with the demand.
So what exactly is your target audience? Because I can understand like the rich people, they have their own drivers and their own cars, and the low end is out of the question. But exactly are you looking at?
Ultimately, our target is to everyone. You know, we want to kind of revolutionize the way people get around the city. You know, right now we're seeing a lot of adoption amongst both foreigners and expats. I mean, both expats and local, I guess. And a lot of rich people who have their own drivers, as you said, they have their own private drivers. But the thing is, private drivers don't work 24 hours.
Okay.
So a lot of times, those are actually the fastest adapting segment is the guys who have their own private driver are used to getting around as if they had their own private driver. And when the driver's off, then they kind of use Uber. So those guys actually adapt to Uber very quickly.
Oh, okay. So you actually the middle guy who connect the drivers and the customers. You don't own any cars.
Exactly. Uber is a technology platform that connects riders and drivers. So in Vietnam, we're partnered with a lot of the big limo companies that currently provide service to big MNCs, 4- and 5-star hotels. And basically when their cars are not busy, we can put them onto Uber. We connect them with additional riders.
What do you think about these potentials of the markets right now? Why now to join?
I think Vietnam has a huge potential. First of all, we, as a company, we want to be everywhere. So we're currently in 163 cities around the globe. We're expanding very quickly. Specifically for Vietnam, there's been a lot of demand on both the customer side as well as the driver side. Ho Chi Minh City has actually been the fastest growing international market of all time.
So how is it different compared to taxi?
So all of the cars that we have on system are licensed limousine providers. So they all currently are of the same quality as those that work with big MNCs, you know, big VIPs, you know, 4- or 5-star hotels. They're currently providing service for those providers. And anytime the car is not busy, they can turn on the Uber system and they can make some extra cash. And that's the kind of service level you're getting. These drivers are all going to be, you know, dressed professionally. They're going to be opening the door, providing water for you. The car is always going to be clean. You know, the ride is tracked via GPS, so you know the taxi drivers, the driver will not take you for a ride. You can see the exact route at the end. You get an emailed receipt showing the route and the exact fare breakdown. And at the end of the day, the trip is actually 15% cheaper than taxi.
Really, 15%?
Yes.
Wow, nice. Very nice car.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
absolutely.
Thank you. You just mentioned last time we talked on the car, you said the customer can enjoy the service for less than 20% compared to taxi, right?
Yeah, so the price will come out to about 15% cheaper than taxi.
How is that possible? How do you calculate the price?
So we have a pretty complex pricing algorithm that we use for every city that we enter that has allowed us to price pretty efficiently. We've done the same thing, you know, in 163 cities before. So we get a very good sense of what the actual costs are and what we can operate at and still make money at. In addition to that, we have a lot of data. So we have a lot of data from, you know, all the cities that we operated in before. We're collecting data constantly about the traffic situation, about the pickup, you know, demand and supply situations in Ho Chi Minh that allows us to help our drivers be very efficient with their time.
What is the unique features of the Vietnam's market? Any different compared to other cities that you have been before?
Well, I think
in terms of supply and demand, yeah.
Yeah, I think every city has a lot of different unique features. One thing is Vietnam has, you know, very low credit card penetration. Vietnam has a lot of motorbikes instead of cars, definitely presenting, you know, two very unique challenges. What I found to be very helpful in the Vietnam market is Vietnamese people are very willing to try new things. So when Uber came in, they were like, hey, I just want to give it a try. And then when they try it once, it becomes a very sticky product. I think this is true globally, is Uber is such a different experience in terms of getting from point A to point B, that once someone has tried it, they're willing to use it again.
I'm just curious, so on what purpose people would need an Uber car?
Oh, we've seen a lot of different use cases. We got a lot of, business travel. It's just a lot more convenient to be able to get into a car, get out without having to, pull out cash. You can take a meeting while in the car. The driver's always very respectful, quiet, not going to be yelling on a cell phone. It's definitely, a nicer ride. So we get a lot of, taking girls out on a date. Sometimes just running errands because it's easy. It's like as if it's your own private driver. So really, people are using it to anytime they're getting from point A to point B, they're finding that Uber is a better way to do it.
Can you hire like a loyal driver, or anytime you have to order different random selection?
Yes. So Uber is, part of the reason we're able to price at 15% lower than taxi is because of efficiency. In order to maintain the efficient system, we always dispatch you the closest driver. So anytime you request, only one driver will receive that request, and it's the closest one, and he will come to pick you up.
And how long usually does it take to wait for a driver to come and pick you up?
As Uber is pretty new, right now our coverage is still quite limited. In District 1, you can expect to get a driver in less than 5 minutes. If you're in District 2 or 7 or a few of the more outlying areas, it might take you 10 to 15 minutes. Our goal, obviously, is in all of Ho Chi Minh to get it under 5 minutes everywhere.
It's not too bad. Specifically, who do you talk to in order to establish a partnership, like the car company, or specifically, who do you talk to?
Yeah. So we work with all the licensed limo providers in a city. So in a city that we enter, these are the guys who are currently already providing service for big MNCs, 4 or 5-star hotels. So they already operate a licensed, professional limo service. And we basically come in and say, hey, during your downtime, between your regular customers, you can turn on the Uber app, make some extra money on the side. We will connect you with the riders.
Uber is a pretty new service in Vietnam. I mean, we don't have anything like this before. So when you first came in and you tried to establish a relationship with, let's say, the car companies, what are some of their initial responses?
They're very enthusiastic. At the end of the day, limo companies want more money, right? And we basically come in and offer them the ability to earn a lot more money. What we've seen, especially in cities that we're in for more than 1 year, like for example, the big US cities have been around for 4 or 5 years. There are guys who start off with 1 car and have built a company up to over 50 or 100 cars. They've literally built a multi-million-dollar business on top of the Uber platform. And that's the beauty of Uber, is it allows limo companies to grow very quickly. Anytime they buy a car, they know they can just stick it onto Uber and make some money.
But you don't own the cars, you don't employ the drivers. How do you make sure that the drivers provide the best customer services?
Good question. That's correct. Uber doesn't own any cars. We don't employ any drivers, but we do have very strict quality standards. So a limo company, if they want to add cars and add drivers to the Uber platform, they have to maintain a minimum quality standard that is Uber, right? And we do monitor this very strictly. After every trip, riders get to rate drivers on a scale from 1 star to 5 star. If a driver consistently gets low ratings, then we will ban the driver, and the driver will no longer be able to work on Uber. Obviously, this will cost the limo company money, so they have their incentive, to make sure that the service is top notch.
Những chia sẻ vừa rồi của anh Alan Jiang, phụ trách thị trường quốc tế của Uber, một ứng dụng thuê xe đưa đón có tài xế riêng vừa mới ra mắt tại thị trường Việt Nam, cũng đã khép lại phần 1 của chương trình Tôi Việt Nam ngày hôm nay. Quý vị có thể xem lại đoạn phỏng vấn này trên website fbnc.vn hoặc là facebook.com/tôi về Việt Nam hoặc facebook.com/kinh tế tài chính TV.